So planted May 16th and 17th, we fell in that window. Most of the pre's went on the 14th of May, so you're well past 45 days out here. And then where there was a post, and I'll indicate we're not going to look at that a lot, went on just on the 18th. Wendell, how you doing?
Okay.
So that's what you're, when you look at these products, I want you to think about that. So the 18th on post, the 14th of May on pre, and all the water that we could deliver. So 26, and if you want to walk back through the corn, what this is not a brand, okay, but think about this as enhanced Acuron. So this is going to be Acuron with the Lumax S-Gloda Dual, which would have been 2.1 pints versus the 1.67. We firmly believe that to navigate around all this resistance space, the rates have got to come up to what we would call full, right? We're not operating at full in many cases, especially as this G15 thing's reared its ugly head in a couple fields in Arkansas and in eastern Illinois. So that's why we built that. So then 27, when you look at that, let me reference my right rates here. The other thing with this HPPD resistance, and you know that's it's also rearing its ugly head. So when you sight down at fog, it's a 10 feet over the site, over this. I wanted to put this on 2-inch weeds. You guys know how the season went. So you see what it was sprayed on. This is Halix at 3.6 with 1.75 of BIR in it. So half what you would get at the full rate of Acuron. And then Joe is on the 3.5 ounce rate of BIR. My challenge with that product concept is that would lock you out of doing anything else at that point. So, but they won't ask me. But when you think through this, but we do know, you know, there's some enhancements in Acuron from bicyclopyrone. How do we improve Halix? I've been asked, I get asked all the time. The Agland guys ask me, well, just put dicamba in it. I don't think that's an answer anymore. We're spraying dicamba on every soybean acre almost anymore from that perspective. Although I recommend a lot of dicamba with those products, and I know you guys use it. But I just wanted to show you on a near-term scale that we're getting out of the box, and I got one of beans to share with you, because this is why this is important. If you want to walk back through them or afterwards want to come back down here, glyphosate absolutely stymies the RD killing. Why would you invest in no money? Now we're 8 to 10 years out, 4 of which are tied up in regulatory. In that regulatory, but in a couple of years is what I think. And there were gigantic weeds, guys, and you know, so take a look at that. Not registered right now. And you're starting to see out here, and I wouldn't say we've got it, but you're starting to see this whole dynamic. And point, remember, this is a 10-foot boom. So when you're looking at the trials, now in this trial I would also say ignore the corn. In that one the treatments went all the way through, and this one they stop at the corn. So what we wanted to do here, this was also intended to be 4-inch. This was a burn down trial. So Corvus at 3.3, Resicord at 1.5 quarts. You can see the white. And this is what happens when you take Acuron and mix it with Gramoxone. My point was, the whole point around resistance management, right, is to start clean. If you don't start clean, you might as well punt. And I know there's 3.5 pints of Gramoxone on there. That's probably, I don't set prices. That's somewhere between $10, $12, $15. But think about what you got here. Now there's something else I wanted to share. What can we do with the current products we have that may not cost $10, $15? We've been really timid, right, with Acuron. Do not use anything but NIS, right? Especially post. So what we've done here, and take the grass out of your eye, just like here, to be fair to Resicord, this is Acuron with MSO and a burn down. Now when you slip around behind me and you focus down, look at what's happened here just by changing the adjuvant. I think that's important. We've got to be more flexible than a singular adjuvant situation, and I wish this was full of mare's tail like Dr. Bernard's studies at Western have been really good. So just switching up the adjuvant, pour on grass, right? 16, fog standing in 16 is verdict at a pint, right, which is delivering 3.28 ounces of sharpen. So now in your eye, you're seeing a half rate of Resicor, a half rate of Acuron with Gramoxone, a full rate of Acuron with MSO, back to 16 ounces of verdict, all in the same slice in here. And you can see, referencing the Corvus trial, that's really not doing much, you know, that we wouldn't expect it to, but that's what kind of weed pressure was in here. So that is the burn down snapshot. So this next trial we call the physical properties breakout, and I think this does one thing. Some of this, what's interesting for you guys to keep coming back, right? The reason we call it the physical properties breakout is you're seeing the differences in the environment and how the active ingredient reacts or interacts with it. A year ago, if you were out here, it didn't rain for 3 weeks after we put the overlaps on. Totally different dynamic this year. So what we've done here, I've taken R's and competitive premixes and I've broke them out. So what's happening before your eyes is you're seeing the label come to life. And I think it's important. Some of you more veteran guys are going, whatever. But I think it's critical to sharpen the axe. So I'm going to walk through these and tell you where we're at. I want you to think about this if you would. What are the available sites of action for water hemp control within these premixes? And think about that. I want you to hold on to that as we walk through here. So fog standing in 15. And 15 is 3.266 ounces of sharpen. Is it or is it not a viable, long-standing, long residual site of action? Then you're going to go to your 14 then would be the equivalent amount of 3.13, a little over 13 ounces of outlook that's in that premix. And what's cool about this, and I know this is a bad term in today's dicamba society, Bill, but this is then the synergy or the complementary activity you get, and that's 16 ounces of verdict. So that's what this is doing. And if you've got a grower out here that's fighting, why do I need this? You know, unfortunately, but there probably is some verdict followed by Armazon Pro maybe. You know, why is it important to get a foundation down? What within the premix is working? And more importantly, when I sell this, what am I selecting for? I would suggest that you're selecting for group 15 resistance. Easy for me to say as a technical guy, right? You got to fight a different battle. We'll keep moving on in the heat, Joe. You're fine. I think you're going to appreciate this. When's the last time, Brennan, you saw an ALS compound kill pigweed? 96. This, for your viewing pleasure, is Varo, thiocarbazone methyl, the ALS component of Corvus. Big word. And then this is somewhat impressive, right? 5.26 ounces of balanced flex. But again, when I'm asking myself, what are my sites of action? Do I know how many are in there? Do I know my number? What am I selecting for here? There's nothing here on water hemp. Giant ragweeds, there probably wouldn't be one in there, to be honest, right? We all know that. So moving on, I'm going to keep us moving. You stop me when you want to. Fog, go to 10, please. This is then the complement. That's Corvus at 5.6. I have tried not to shortcut rates or anything. Everything out here has been sold at the full rate or applied at the full rates. So number 9, that is what you get out of 6.08 ounces of clopyrrolid, otherwise known as stinger, in the soil. Joe, did your camera just break?
Close.
We see this.
So you did straight stinger there?
That's straight stinger, pre. Now, Brennan, to be fair, right, post, we got a different story, right? I'm not saying that.
I agree with you because I can show you post stills that look terrible.
But I like how you just turn that around and get a disagreement, would you? But anyway, that's what you get, okay? We'll keep moving. Fog, move on, please. So surprisingly, some company sold another company a really good compound. There's 7.2 ounces of Callisto. Set right next to that 6.08 ounces of clopyralid. There is a very robust rate of surpassing that. That's 2.4 ounces of surpass NXT. And then you know the drill by now. That's 3 quarts of Reservoir. Just for your viewing pleasure. This is what I want you to calibrate on, and some of you are still down there. Guys, this is, in Mackenzie, this is 1.5 pints of atrazine versus 6.08 pints of Stinger. And we're time-lapsing these guys. Connor's helping me this year. So we've got this as it started to break, because this will get really hairy. So there's your pint, 1.5 pints. Fog, go to 4, please. This is, I think, important. This is Callisto and BIR, the rates you would receive in 3 quarts of Acuron. However, then this is that same mix, but I've got the atrazine in it. Now the grass is starting to come out here, but for the dollar, that side of action is delivering something, even if it's for a short period of time, right? And we all know the synergies that happens when you put a PS2 with an HPPD. In fact, that's how we create durability to save this side of action in the toolbox.
I mean, can everybody see a difference between where Rich is standing and I am? I mean, that's what we're going after here. Just atrazine's the cheapest damn thing we got out here. It should go in every load on corn acre.
So we'll keep moving. 1.67 pints of dual. Connor, sometimes when you buy weed seed, guys, and it's my policy I cannot introduce a species that wasn't here, so I just pulled a mustard plant. That's 1.67 a dual, and then here is the 3 quarts of Acuron. You're 50 some days now, and I think you're seeing where the horsepower is at as you look down through here.
How many inches of rain?
Oh, Bill, I wish I knew.
Many?
20,
Many.
Probably 20 something.
20-ish. Mitchell, my landlord's actually been tracking that for me right here, physically, not just with the new digital stuff. Any questions? Think about how many sites of action are in the premix or in the program that I'm selling. And one thing I want to share with you, I'm the last guy to advocate one pass herbicide. 19 forced us in that, but I wanted to show you what you get when you deliver them. This split shot Acuron by Acuron or split these other programs looks pretty sexy. It's why we're not going to be walking through some of these other trials, because we don't have separation in them today. So we'll move on. I know it's hot. Residuals. What can I put on corn? I don't know if many of you know this. You can spray straight dual on 40-inch tall corn, right? Pretty safe. So what we did was break this out. This first thing, when I finish the story here, you're going to have a mess that you can't control, which is right. So but I'll show you what I did, and I think you'll see some value or not in it. What I'm trying to prove is some of the statements we make, and some of the statements competitors make with rates. So treatment 1, we had a lot of water injury. 1 is just dual at 1.67, but this corn didn't get sprayed till it was V6. So we're not going to have anything, but you'll get the picture here in a minute. 2 is Zidua at 3 ounces. This is where I'm going with this. So now he's in 3. That's dual at 3.34 pints. I 2x the rate. What I'm looking for here, I wish I had a clean canopy. I wanted to take this to yield. We talk about all these claims, Mike. Are they real? You're out here selling this stuff. Your credibility's at risk. You know, and we can elevate these rates. 4 then is 6 ounces of Zidua. And I didn't, and Connor can testify, I didn't see a lot of response. 5 is 3 quarts of Acuron. You can kind of tell that there was an HPPD spray here, right? Big weeds, big corn. 6 is 3 quarts of Reservoir. 7 now, where fog just passed. The Reservoir. Again, I didn't see a lot of differences in there, but wanted to just take the time to walk through what we were doing. 7.2 pints of Halix. So I'm 2x rating the products out here. And folks, so I had the Central Illinois team out here last week, and they went, I guess we're going to plant corn in this block again, right? So we'll see what happens. Cans back to just 3 quarts of Reservoir for reference. So the eye was referenced. I didn't want to take, if there was a difference, I wanted to be fair and not go, well, the Reservoir is down here and the Halix is here. 11 is 3.3 of Corvus sprayed at V6. Could be interesting what the ears look like. I think we may get some visuals off of this late. We really exceeded the V2 label there. Love that. So, what in the heck did you do here? I wish I could tell you that was generic, you know, Halix. But what that is Verdex sprayed post. Right, we all know you're not supposed to do that, but unfortunately some people don't. And my CRO went, what in the heck did you have me spray there? He was so busy, you know, and he goes, and I said, that's what we did. That's just 16 ounces. Here's something curious for you. So Connor and I were out here mauling around. If you would, come on in here. I won't take you to the second flag. So Sharpen is a what? What group is it? So the reason I flagged this, 3.28 ounces of pure burn. What's that water hemp plant doing, Bill?
Looks like you fertilized him.
It's amazing, and I have documented PPO resistance here, shocker, right? But I wanted to make that point as we think through this whole dynamic.
Did you just spray it straight, or did you have surfactants and everything else with it?
Just sprayed it straight.
How tall was the corn?
V6.
But like no MSO?
No MSO. No, just sprayed them straight. Which, Brennan, to my curiosity now, would we have completely terminated the crop with the adjuvants? I would suggest where Bill's at, probably yes. But I wanted to catch that because that's perceived as a monster load of a dose, right? And we're coming back. And Bill, not necessarily an obscenely huge weed.
Yeah, I like that little bitty one.
And Joe, that's another one that we have. Is it regrowing?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we've got a yeah on that. Fog's just standing in corn now. Let's pass through corn. We took a few of these premixes and broke them out. So behind you though, not for today, but you guys have been, for those of you who have been out here before, that is about every competitive treatment that I could put out there. Dicamba, conventional meaning glyphosate. My intention down here was to have Enlist out here with Liberty, and then we inadvertently planted an Extend bean, so those are gone. But it's out here from our stuff to BSF's to the Bayer programs. So we will take that to yield, just like I have done before, and we'll make it available. So what you're seeing, we're gonna walk this backwards. This is broad axe at 25 ounces. As far as knowing your number, so to speak, I would suggest to you that there's a group 14 and a 15, and even if they're PPO resistant, I can overwhelm them in the soil, right? So I have 2 effective sites of action here. My count is 2 setting that up. So 1, 3, 7 a dual. Please ignore the dandelions. Fog just didn't get his spade out. Then 3, and you're going to see this a couple times. I want you to track this. This is 4.4 of Spartan. And I want you to think about what you're seeing. We're out here 50 days, 20 plus inches of rain. That combination looks pretty good of a 14 and a 15. Then 4 is Sonic. It's Sonic at the 4 ounce rate, which is delivering at 5 as you move. 5, 6 of Spartan. So you're seeing 4, 4 of Spartan to 5, 6 of Spartan. This looks really good, right? And if I've got rags, I've got a temptation. But just as I suggested over there, and you got to think through this, it's not my deal. I'm selecting for PPO resistance here. So I triple that up. So now moving down, 6. 6 is, this is first rate, I'm sorry. So Sonic The Spartan, I was right. This is very similar to what you saw with Varro. Imagine that. Brendan and I would agree. I found these pigweeds we couldn't kill in 1996 in the Sangamon River bottom in Mahomet, Illinois. We just put something from Corteva in here that in some cases this is getting popular. It's just different ratios of the same stuff. Here, this is 2 ounces of Valor SX in it versus the 176 you would receive in 3.5 ounces of Valor XLT for reference. 9 is looking at 4/10 now, 4/10 of first rate. So you're seeing 0.38 and 4/10, no shocker there on water hemp. However, the vine control, the ragweeds, I can't exactly elaborate on everything that's seeded out here, but we put a lot of weed seed on these from various species. 10 then, 6 ounces of Zid Pro. 11 would be the 2 ounces of pyroxasulfone. 12 is Pursuit at 4 ounces. Any shocker there? And then 13, of course, is the Sharpen. I want you to think about this, and it's just, you know, I'm just the technical guy. There's a lot of uptake on this product, right? It's easy. What am I selecting for is a question. You don't have to answer me. What am I selecting for? Because I've got a 2 in there that's of no value as an ALS on pigweeds. The amount of Sharpen in there at 1 ounce is limited residual activity, especially when we think about water hemp germinate from April to September, October at our latitude. So that 2 ounces of Pyrox is under siege. 14, keep us moving then. 14 is 2 pints of Boundary, as you sight down there. Hey Fog, I know you're line up on that for him, would you, right there? 15 is 137 of Dual. Thanks, Rich. I think this is important. This is kind of mind-blowing. Rich, if you'd scoot down one for me. Now we've had a lot of water here. I want to be fair. Your eyes are there, but that is just 6 2/3 ounces of metribuzin. So on these populations in eastern Illinois that are 6-way confirmed resistant, there is a product that's 100,000 years old that still works, and it's that one right there. Now Aaron Hager wants you to use 8 ounces. Brennan, you got some soils. Mike, you've got some soils. Bill, we'd run into challenges. You guys all know this stuff, but we have to be careful with it. In Champaign, Monmouth, these soils fine, but realize the intersection's got a pound on it now, and oh, by the way, I put atrazine on that field last year, so we have to be careful, but it's highly effective. Without the water we've taken on here, this thing is working on these multiple resistances that we're finding in eastern Illinois. Just wanted to pick up on that. And I would say from a physical property standpoint, Brendan, you know, the darn thing's water soluble. Why do we still have activity out of it, right? I mean, it's pretty impressive what you're seeing out here from it. Enough of that. So 17, I think this is another product concept that I wanted you to think about. So this is effectively the components of Boundary at, say, the 2 pint rate. You just saw it. And then 0.55 of chloranthanol methyl, otherwise known as first rate. Why we're doing that is this just can't be focus on water hemp. Giant rags on a per plant basis are much more competitive, right? Much more competitive. Even though we can wipe everything out from a large seeded broadleaf standpoint with dicamba today, what happens into the future? So how's residual control on that acre? This is, whether you write this off to Blake that there's too much rain or not, it's impressive. And then I'd guide your eyes down here if you think it's too wet, because the weeds grew over here. So 18 I wanted to throw in here. I wanted you to think about, as we transition and the PPO tolerance is high, right? So FlexStar GT was really popular. But can I kill a water hemp post now with a PPO? Whether it's Cobra, Reflex, FlexStar, Ultra Blazer. So if I can't, I want to show you what 1 pint of Reflex looks like in the soil. That is outstanding. I'm going to show it to you again in my plant back just quick. Does our mindset change? Now if I use my Reflex Pre, now I lose the opportunity to use it post. But if you believe in what I just said earlier, why does that matter? But this is an awesome economic piece in prefix. So the other thing I wanted to try, let's look at some other stuff. Some of you guys, Bill, Mike, Brennan, have heard of seedling root inhibitors. That's Prow at 2.5 pints. They're actually 2 pints, excuse me. They're actually tank mixing this in Eastern Illinois. Mike, they're actually throwing Treflan on the soil surface, which cheap. I don't know. Just searching. Here's something different for you. Any of you remember Lorox, Linuron? So this is a PS2, but it's at site 6 versus 5. And the reason I put this in here is we think about all these populations. I've had the fortune or misfortune to be heavily involved with the U of I on some of these cases. We're just getting outside the box. Can we use a seedling root inhibitor? What about this stuff? Well, what about this stuff? Bill, if we were in my home county and where you work, maybe this looks okay. But Linuron's physical property challenge was it ties up in heavy OM soils. So guess what you're on? Right, you all know that. But that's 1.5 pints of that site. I drug you down here on this one just to show you that we are trying to find an answer with what we have in the toolbox. You know, making a 12 foot, a 1/2 inch nut, right? A 12 millimeter, so to speak. But just wanted to get your eyes on that. Let's swing around.